Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today we will be talking about opening your company. This is the first step towards starting your own transportation business. To begin, there are many different types of businesses you can start, such as sole proprietorship, a partnership, an LLC, and a corporation, with other branches such as the S Corp and C Corp. We will only cover the three most popular business services, which are the sole proprietorship, an LLC, and a corporation. I'll also show you how to form an LLC, which is the most common type of business and will be explained later in the video. But first, consider the sole proprietor. The sole proprietorship is easy to establish because it does not require many documents or other extra information to get started. You have complete control over it and can open it whenever you want. When the doors open, there will be no official state or federal tax filings. Nonetheless, it will have drawbacks such as no liability protection. So if you're sued, everything comes out of your pocket and you must pay with your own money. Your house, car, or other valuables are on the line. When you are a sole proprietor, banks will find it more difficult to give you a loan and financing because they want to see an actual business. Just to sum it up with the upsides and downsides, it is the simplest and quickest company to open and manage. Now let's talk about LLCs. LLC stands for Limited Liability Company and is the most popular form of business for shipping companies. It must have one or more members or managers who are owners and workers, but they're simply called members or managers. An annual application fee must be paid when opening an LLC. Different states have different levels of annual application fee. For example, $800 per year in California and $100 per year in Georgia. LLCs are paid for your own personal income tax, just like a sole proprietorship. If you only work for an LLC, you are treated like a sole proprietorship. If there are multiple members, they're treated as a partnership for tax purposes. Having an LLC also means having good liability protection. So if you get sued, you don't have to worry about putting your valuables at risk. Only business assets are at risk. This is exactly why LLCs are so popular. Additionally, LLCs are easy to run with state annual filings, also known as Statements of Information filings. And depending on the state you live in, you may need to do this every number of years. There are cases like California, it should be done every 2 years. Again, an LLC is very easy to conduct, just like a sole proprietorship. Finally, the corporation. Corporate owners are known as shareholders and requires the article of formation from the Secretary of State. Just like LLCs, they also have annual tax returns and liability protections. It has two ways of paying taxes depending on how you form the business. It has the S Corp and C Corp. We won't go into details about S Corp and C Corps in this video, but if you're in business, you can pay your taxes on your personal tax return, which is S Corp, or your personal and business tax return, which is C Corp. That just means double taxation. This is why corporations are shady. Another disadvantage of a corporation is that it is more complex to control as opposed to a LLC or a sole proprietorship. They're very strict and have many meetings with constant filings. LLCs are very famous for their excellent corporate and sole proprietorship qualities. liability protection, great credibility exists in LLCs and corporations. Having an LLC is like having a corporation, only easier to manage like a sole proprietorship, which puts the LLC in the middle lane. Now, let me briefly introduce the flow of starting a business. First, you need to visit the Secretary of State's website and fill out a form or file online or print it out and fill it on paper. To open an LLC, you will need to provide the LLC name and other informations. Then you will receive the article of information. This should show you the date for when you open the business and other information that was filled out in the forms. The article of information needs to be saved as it will be used multiple times during the opening process. Then you will have to fill out what is called a statement or of information, or could be also called an annual biannual report. This report shows who the members are in the company and where it is located and other information about your business. Also, depending on the state you're in, there are details that you will need to update each year. There's also an annual return to pay to the LLC. Each federal state pays a different amount annually or semi-annually. It also depends on your income. If you don't pay the annual return, it will prevent the LLC from continuing. Now that everything is formed, you will need your EIN number. It also stands for Employer Identification Number. This is not required by some companies, but is recommended. Why? It works like a social security number, but for business. This also adds credibility. If you're trying to open a business bank account, they would want to see an EIN number. It separates your personal bank account from your business bank account. And it's not only for bank accounts, but for other things.